Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to teach you a new lesson today. I hope you guys are having a good Monday. Today, we are going to be talking about shape. Shape is one of our elements of art, and we divide shapes into two groups, our geometric shapes and our organic shapes. So, geometric shapes, the way we can identify them is geometric shapes have names. And they're shapes we know. So, of course, we have square and circle, hexagon, triangle, rectangle, oval, and pentagon. So these shapes have names and we can identify them. But organic shapes are different. Organic shapes do not have names. And they have unusual edges. Some may have curved edges. Some may have more zigzagged edges, but organic shapes essentially do not have names. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take some organic shapes and put them together. In fact, we're going to take a curved line and turn it into an organic shape. So right now, go get a pencil or crayons or a marker or something you can use to draw, and then also get something you can use to color in. That might be paint, that might be markers, that might be crayons, that might be something else. So first off, what we're going to do is, let me adjust this a little bit. That's better. What you're going to do is you're going to place your hand down and you are going to trace around it. Now, I'm trying to find my marker that I was using before. If you have trouble tracing your hand, you could get an adult or an older sibling to do it for you. But, and you can also start, if you're afraid about getting marker or pen or crayon on your hand, what you could do is start by tracing your hand in pencil and then go back around and trace it in marker. And in fact, I think that's what I'm going to do today. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put my hand down. I'm going to stretch my fingers out. Now, whenever I'm tracing my hand, I try to put my pencil down exactly perpendicular to the page. You tend to get a nicer line if you do that. So instead of going, sometimes what people do is they go in like this from the side, but it makes your hands and your fingers look really skinny. If I put my pencil down straight like this and trace around it, I'm going to get a straighter and a better line. So I've got it going right down 100%. Well, not 100%. Not that exact, but as perpendicular as I can to the page. Now, you might notice after you trace your hands, sometimes you end up getting little lumps and bumps. Well, what I notice is if you take a marker and a crayon and trace over that line again, you tend to get rid of those little bumps because the tip of the marker and the crayon is thicker than the tip of the pencil. So I'm just using a marker here. Please, if you're using a marker and there's no adults around, make sure you're really careful with it. Some markers are permanent, so want to make sure that our table or your workspace stays clean. Okay, so I'm just going to go around and trace my hand, and you can see because this is a thicker line, I'm actually getting rid of some of those little imperfections. Okay, and if you need to pause your video to continue on to the next part, that's fine. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a curved line for a walk. So I'm just going to start at one edge of the paper, and I'm not going to make little itty-bitty lines. Sometimes those are going to be hard to color in or paint later, but I'm going to try to take mine for a nice, wide, gentle, curved line all over my paper. And I do want my curved line to cross over my hand. So I'm just kind of moving it around Actually, I think I'm going to go back and thicken this up a little bit. I'm going to move it around just like some spaghetti all over my page. So here I go. I'm just taking my curved line for a walk, and I'm making sure that my curved line actually crosses over my hand. And with this, I'm going to end up having some hopefully some pretty interesting organic shapes. So, I'm putting my my curved line all over my paper. I now have tons of organic shapes. So look, here's a little organic shape. Here's one. None of these shapes have names. They are not geometric. They're organic. Now, you have two options at this point. Maybe you could get out some markers. Actually, a few different options. You could get out some markers. You could get out some crayons. You could get out some paints. You could get out some colored pencils, whatever you choose. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the hues on mine. Now, you don't have to do that, but the reason I'm using the hues or just my rainbow colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, is they're going to show up very nicely. Sometimes when I watercolor with black and brown, it makes my other colors a little bit too dark. So I'm just going to work with my hues today, but you don't have to do that. You can come up with your own method for adding detail to your organic shape art. You could color in completely, you could paint in completely, or you could just come up with a different line or a different pattern for each shape, or maybe even repeat some of those patterns. So at this stage, if you kind of understand what you're going to do to finish up your art, you can actually even just turn off this video and work on your own, or you could just stick with me, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start painting in my shapes. And, you could also leave some of these white if you want to. Stylistically, that might be interesting. Usually when I'm trying to paint in a shape very carefully, I'll go around the edge first. The reason I do that is it just kind of, it makes a crisper edge. Another thing I'm going to do when I'm painting in today to give my art more variety, I don't want any of my same color shapes to be touching each other. I want there to be variety all over my art. So as I'm putting my colors down, I'm just making sure that they're not going to touch each other is one of my goals. So that's what I got going on here. So I'm just working with red, but you could, like I said, you could create a pattern or a line design in each area. You could be using marker. You can come up with your own ideas. It can be very relaxing. This would be considered abstract. We're kind of just working with some elements of art to create our art today. Ooh, this is a very unusual shape that goes all the way to the edge of the paper. This is this little shape here is a very unusual organic shape. You'll probably discover that once you make your lines. So I'm just trying to kind of have red all over my paper. So we can also kind of review some of our colors as we go along. Now remember, if you're still watching this video, you are working alongside me, okay? Don't waste your time watching the entire video. I suppose you could if you want to, but it might be more time efficient to work alongside me, work with me, or just to quickly watch the video and then do it on your own. Watch what you need to know rather than everything. So anyways, just kind of adding some more things on here. So I'm working with remember our warm colors, so this is a bit of a review too. Our warm colors are the colors of fire and the sun. I've decided to work with my warm colors first. You don't have to do that though, that's just what I'm doing. I'm kind of going through my Roy G. Biv, my hue sequence, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, but you don't have to do that. This is just, you can make whatever kind of choice you want with this. In fact, it might be kind of interesting to pattern in some areas. This is a very relaxing way of making abstract art, and it can be kind of just kind of letting your mind go as you work. Can be very therapeutic. Ooh, therapeutic is a fancy word meaning kind of good for your soul. A little bit relaxing, you know? Okay, so now that I've got my yellow, well, I'm going to go down here and add a little yellow in this corner, too. I want to make sure my yellow is all over the page. And so, you know what? It's kind of down here. It's sort of blending one color into the other, but that's okay. And now I'm going to go into my green. You know, you could just keep with a color scheme if you wanted to. If you just wanted to do warm colors, or if you just wanted to do cool colors, that would be okay too. It's up to you. But I'm using all the hues on my art today. But you could do something different. Yours and mine do not have to be the same. Let's see if I can, I think we'll go with that because I got this big shape up there. Maybe that'll be violet or blue. And now I'm trying to go back into my blue, and I kind of want to have, hopefully, the same or close to the same number of shapes painted in for each, close to the same number of shapes painted in for each color, but I might not. I can even, there's something too, if I wanted to join two shapes together, let me show you what you can do with that. If you want to join two shapes together, you can get a different kind of an organic shape. Let's see what else I got here. I think this shape at the top was going to be quite a large area of blue. But notice how I'm outlining it as I go. You know, this shape's kind of large too. This one I noticed down here is extremely large. I could keep it that large, or if I wanted to, I could add another line, another curved line in it and break it into two areas. If I wanted to, that's perfectly fine. That's a decision that I can make. I think maybe that's what I'm going to do down here. I want to save enough that I have some areas of violet too. So, and last but not least, I'm going to go in and add in my violet. Trying to keep it neat and tidy if I can, and if I don't, that's okay too. I mean, watercolor can be a little bit difficult to control at times, but that's okay. We all join these two little pieces together here. And sometimes you'll just, as you work, it's good to kind of stand back and critique your work and decide if it's looking good to you. You can always adjust it as you go if you want to. Like I'm noticing over here, this yellow area is really light, and I want it to appear to have a darker yellow color. So I'm going to add that in there, and then go back in with some violet over here. And I'm just about done. Okay, so now our art is finished, and that's that. Art is complete. Remember, when you're done with your art, please take a photo of your art and send it to my email address. Thanks for coming by today and learning a little bit about our different shapes. Remember, today we are working with our organic shapes that do not have names. Hope you have a great day. Happy creating. Goodbye.